How's it going, NPC Nation? Welcome back to a brand new video. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about the primaries. Or does primaries matter? So, the primaries in Indiana just happened the other day. Well, 2 days ago when I'm recording this. And it happened on Tuesday. And I went out and I voted, like I usually do. But the turnout for primary is not really that big. It's a big enough turnout to determine a winner, but it's not a turnout that we're used to seeing during the election. Why? Why is that? It's one of multiple reasons. The primaries aren't talked about on live television as much as the general elections. Mostly the presidential elections. When primaries happen, they're not really talked about. Your best way to find out about a primary is your local town news station or radio station if your town is big enough for a radio station, or your local officials. That's how you really find out about primaries. And that's why that's why not a lot of people know if the primary is happening or care about primaries. Primaries don't really matter when it comes to the federal level, especially if there's Super Tuesday. By Super Tuesday, we know who the nominees are. It just makes it more clear because people are going to vote for the nominees, really. Then, there's still going to be votes for people that are on the ballot if there is anyone on that ballot, but most likely certain states there's nobody against the person that's running. But Indiana had a primary to determine the next the big one was the governor, to determine the nominee for to be the next governor. And if you didn't know, Mike Braun won the primary. The thing with Mike Braun, the dude came back out of nowhere, got back into politics, became a senator of Indiana in 2019, and then 5 years later doesn't rerun for re-election, and then he just runs for governor, which, good on him, he can do that. It's just there was enough votes for him to win a lot of people knew when the primaries were, so enough votes for him to become the nominee for governor. But for the general election in November. But I want to talk about primaries because a lot of people don't like to show up. Are primaries worth it? I think it is, because it determines, if their nominee hasn't already been picked, it determines a nominee for local and state government. Federal government, no, primaries don't matter if Super Tuesday hasn't happened. If Super Tuesday has happened, then the primary for that state or the current state you're living in doesn't really matter. You already know who the nominee is because they don't need a lot of votes to become the nominee anymore. So it does matter if in the state level. It doesn't really matter in the federal level as much if the nominees have been picked for the federal level. But primaries are important to go to, though, if you want to vote. If you're not involved in politics at all, then that's fine. If you just want to go vote and have your voice heard, then that's fine as well. But I think primaries are important if you're in if it's a local / state and federal. If it's federal Congress and state Congress, yes. If it's local elections, like your town election, yeah, that's important too. But mostly it's going to be, during this time of year, it's mostly going to be state-wide issues when it's presidential election. And then the next primaries that happens is mostly going to be town and local issues and local people. But yes, primaries are important, even if you already know the nominee. Just more votes, more people to vote. There's just more than federal issues on state primaries. It's mostly state, because people forget state and federal Congress. So I might talk about that here soon. And that is going to be in a future video, but primaries are important. They are worth it, in my opinion, because most of the time it's not just federal. We already know who the federal guy is. You can still vote for him. It's determining your next state person. Mostly your state people. It's mostly state Congress and stuff like that. But hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, press the share button, press the like button, press the red button, subscribe button, press the bell to be notified every time I upload a video. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.